You're all almost clear to get out. I just have to run a few more tests. A few more tests. More tests. A few more tests. What's wrong? You already repaired us. I need to make sure we did it right. So James, you're saying you didn't do it right the first time? Typical. Well, and you repaired that Mavis before us. That's because Mavis's need to go to the works was much less than yours, and she was brought in first with Oliver. Oliver was much more severely damaged in that crash. But Percy barely had anything happen to him. I mean, he just had some clogged pipes. That shouldn't take too long to fix. It wouldn't if the Scots train didn't come and crash into me, said Percy. Don't remind me, I'm already covered in your sludge. They heard a wheezing. What's that? Said James. It was Bear. He was pulling a very long passenger train. What's with the train, Bear? Said James. It's from somewhere in England or something, and it's going to Brandon. Oh, this train's so heavy. They have a different engine to take it. Like Gordon. I mean, he is the express engine. I mean, he is, said Bear. But only me and Boko and the Scots could really fit on the branch line. Scottish twins were busy, on account of Olive for being at the work. But still, said James. I mean, why couldn't he at least have somebody pick it up before then? Railway doesn't have much coal and water on the other railway. You'd have to bring a special supply for it. So, kind of has to be a diesel up until that end. And why couldn't we have had a steam engine from Barrow on, said James. Well, it doesn't make sense to switch the trains in the middle of it. Now, I must get going. The train doesn't even really stop here. I just needed a break to refuel. Let's go. Oh. Well, that's Hornet, said Bear's driver. He got out. You're not going anywhere today, Bear. You've just failed. Failed from what? Said Bear. Straining too hard, said his driver. That caused something in you to snap and, well, doesn't look like you'll be finishing this train. Furthermore, said the station master coming out, we don't have anyone to pull this train. Donald and Douglas are busy, and it's far too heavy for an engine like Edward. And Henry and Gordon, they can't support their weight on the branch line. Isn't there work being done on Edward's branch line to, strengthen it or something? About more than one engine, said James. What if me, Oliver, and Percy decided to take it? Probably could get it going. I mean, you may be able to make it up Gordon's Hill. Oh, wait, no, you're just going from Marin down. You should be fine. It would be on the way back. And I don't suppose there is a way back? Oh, no, the passengers are just, they're catching a ship home. So, should we? See, said James, we can take over. I mean, what if something snaps? I'll never be able to finish the train. We have to. I mean, we are clearly superior to all the diesels, so we can pull it, right? Bear was hurt. And so was Rusty, sitting on the line next to. That's an incredibly rude thing to say, James. I don't care if it's rude, said James. We can take it all the way. I mean, it's only 5 coaches. Which is more than Gordon pulls on his usual express run, said Percy. Plus, the last time I triple-headed the express, we couldn't even make it to Croven's Gate from Tidmouth. And you had to go up Gordon's Hill. I mean, Croven's Gate to Brenham shouldn't be that hard. I'm good if you are, said Percy. James, if this doesn't work, it's all on you, okay? It will work, said James. You're avoiding the question, said Percy. Tell me that if we can't make it, you will accept help from a diesel, and that you will take full responsibility for this. Fine, said James. Now let's just get on the train. Bear went to go to the works, and the 3 engines got on the long train. Do it for us steam engines, said Duncan. Away we go, away we go. The cavalcade moved slowly but surely out of the station. Was going fine up until Marin, where at the top of the hill the engines had to pin down their brakes. Ouch, said Oliver. His driver got out and talked to the other drivers. My brakes are stuck on, said Oliver. I guess I should have gone through test after all. No time to take him off the train, said Percy. I guess this means we have to, get some help. Nonsense, said James. I can pretty much pull these coaches on my own, and, well, you should be able to handle Oliver, right? Maybe, said Percy, but what? Are you saying you're too weak for it? Oh, said Percy, it's that, well, Oliver failed because he didn't have all of his tests. And, are you sure we're going to be able to hold the brakes down going down Gordon's Hill, even with the coaches? If anything, Oliver's helping us do that. We would have struggled anyway, and now Oliver's making it harder to go down. What I'm saying is we could start up and shoot forward and come off the track. Nonsense, said James. That would never happen. He was trying to assure himself as much as Percy. Fine, I guess, said Percy. The guard, who had come to check up, blew his whistle, and the engine slowly, but surely, started down Gordon's Hill. The engines were waiting at Wellsworth for the signal to drop, when they saw Boko there. Hello, said Boko. What's going on? We're pulling this very heavy passenger train, Boko. What are you doing? Oh, I just finished that good run on the track over there. Oh, I see, said Oliver. Anyway, I thought Bear was supposed to be taking this train. Idiot broke down. Took more than he could pull. And by idiot broke down, took more than he can pull. An extra couple coaches were attached to the train because of more tourists. Bear couldn't handle them all and strained himself at Groven's Gate. We were there at the works. Heard you guys weren't going to get out for a couple of days, said Boko. At least like 2 or 3 more. We weren't, said Oliver. But James said that we needed to take this blah blah steam engines or something, diesel, whatever. I really don't have time for it. But what I did catch is that we went out too early, and I broke down. Would you like me to shunt you off the train, said Boko. Actually, that would be very... The signal dropped, and almost by himself, James shoved Percy, Oliver, and pulled the train onto the branch line. Why did you start us, said Percy. The signal was down. I figured, might as well, said James. Almost right after that, though, the sky became dark and started to rain. The engines passed by the farm, the rain started to get harder. Oh, ow, ow, said Percy, and the train stopped. What's the problem now, Percy, said James. My side rods, my wheels, ow. Percy's driver got out and inspected. It's your side rods, Percy, and your wheels like you expected. The side rod wasn't secured properly and swung off and pierced your wheel. You won't be going anywhere. You're not like Oliver where you have your brakes on, you're just dead weight at this point. Because more weight is exactly what I need. What else can go wrong, said James. James? Oh no, what's it now, said James. James, your standing gear hasn't been working. We've been relying on Percy to do that, but now that he's failed, you won't be able to. Bother, said James. I can pull this train on my own. I just need to start it. And there lies the problem. You can't start this train on your own. I'll try. I'll let you try, but I promise you're not going to get anywhere. James's wheels spun, and they spun, and they spun, but they couldn't grip the rails. Bother, he said. How are the passengers going to get home? They need help. The farmer telephoned someone, said Oliver. I mean, he is a close partner of the railway. That's a good idea, said James, but the idea would mean nothing. As just as all hope was lost, Boko rolled in. Hello, James, he yelled. Do you need any help? Not from you, said James. Is maybe Edward there, or... He's busy. So are the twins. Do you want me to help or not? I'll take the help, said James. Okay, said Boko. I'm gonna couple up. And the cavalcade slowly, but surely, rolled. Very, very slowly, but just enough to get one coach going. They got the next coach going. They got the next coach going. They got the next coach going. And the next. Wet, tired, and dark out, James and Boko delivered the long express train. They had arrived in time for the ship. Boko had uncoupled from the train and coupled up to Percy and Oliver to bring them back to the works. James had a couple questions. Boko, why aren't you taking me to the works? What happened to you, James? The failed sending gear. Percy, Oliver, and Bear need to be in the works, way more important. Okay, said James. And Boko rolled off with Percy and Oliver. James's plan was to sit there and sulk. But he had other problems. He went off to take a nap. Hey, James. Yeah, hey, James. Be quiet, you. Why? What are you going to do on us? You're going to fail another train and then not ask for help again. I got here on time, didn't I? That's all that matters. Anyway, didn't Sir Top Hat order you guys like a babysitter? We're privately owned. Yes, he did. Joint engine, I hear. They'll be arriving in a couple of months, I think. And not a day later, said James. Anyway, why is the stockyard so big? Indeed, the dockyard had been expanded upon, adding many more sidings, and a shed that Edward just so happened to be spending the night in. So, who's gonna run this thing? I hear they're getting in a diesel. Diesels are no good, except for Boko, and kind of Bear. Daisy's alright. Mavis is fine, I guess. And Rusty's kind of nice too, but no others. What about Pip and Emma? Where even are they? They're good, I guess. I haven't seen them in a while. Something about major works needing to be done. I don't think they'll be back for a while. That's a pity. Anyway, about this diesel thing. James, do you think maybe you could be nice to the next diesel that shows up? After all, the diesels only really replaced us. They weren't the ones scrapping us. And why were most of the diesels I met so rude, said James. That's how they were brought up in the workshops. I hear now that diesels are getting replaced by high-speed engines, James. Oh, said James. You know what? The next diesel that comes to this island, I'll be nice to. Oh, and that Frank's... He's grumpy, but he's fine. Nobody cares about your opinions on diesels, James. Anyway, do you know where our empties are? I think they're over there. Thanks, James, said Bill. Yeah, thanks, said Ben, and he puffed away. Start off friendly with the next one. But if he slips up, shoving in the drink.